What up, YouTube? Maltfrazier in the building. And look, we got to talk about the SEC championship last night. It was straight up BTA belt to ass, and the belt holder was not who it should have been, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, the tide was not rolling yesterday. And as a Bama fan, last night was hard to watch really from start to finish. There was not really any moment in the game where we gave ourselves a chance to feel like, all right, we can go win this or we coming back. I mean, it was a lifeless performance, I would say, which is extremely discouraging. I mean, this Bama team has been through a lot of ups and downs all year. The adversity started immediately with Florida State, but they responded. Time after time, they responded. We had one of the toughest schedules in the country, and we handled most of our business. You know what I'm saying? We had a couple mishaps in there, but the good outweighed the bad by a long shot, And so for us to make it through the season 10-2, everything to play for, and then to come out here in a championship game and lay an egg, I mean, damn, just hella disheartening. So that was a really tough watch for me last night. But we got to dive into it. So as bad as it was, and it was an ass whooping for sure, this game still, to me, came down to about 3 to 5 plays. We lost 28-7, but there's about 3 to 5 plays that I think you can point to, and that's the game, really. Because if you go look at the stats, UGA, they didn't have a whole bunch of more yards than us, but they controlled the time of possession. They were brilliant and dominant, stopping us on third downs, and they did enough to win. And then on top of that, they just made plays, And so it starts with first quarter, the block punt, right? In a game where you have two elite teams going at each other, block punts, missed field goals, those type of plays are difference makers. In that scenario, the block punt was just a huge opportunity to capitalize on for Georgia because you're stealing like 50 yards. And, time of possession and field position control are at a premium in a game like this. So giving up the block punt, setting up Georgia in a short field and allowing them to get an easy touchdown, huge big play that went against us. Then on the third drive of the game, we started getting a little momentum going. We got a big play to Ryan Williams. Then Ty Simpson throws a terrible ball to Isaiah Horton, interception. And UGA, they didn't just capitalize on it. I mean, they milked the clock. They ran, screen pass. I mean, they just dinked and dunked us for the most part. I mean, Gunnar Stockton barely threw a forward pass last night. And to be able to get away with that against a team of our caliber, hella disgusting to me, bro. But those were two big plays early in the game, the block punt and the interception, and it resulted in Bama being down 14-zip. Now the next play for me was a drive in the second quarter. We had a 3rd and 2, and obviously at this point we have nothing rolling offensively, no momentum, nothing at all. And our play on 3rd and 2 is a little swing route out to Daniel Hill, the running back. Now, keep in mind, Daniel Hill is a really good back, very strong physical, and has displayed some pretty good hands throughout the season. But the fact that we are running a designed swing pass on a 3rd and 2 to a running back that is 250 pounds is ridiculous. And the reason why is because somebody that big needs space in order to get cooking. He can't just burst off the line and run for 5-10 yards. He needs a yard or two to build some momentum to get rolling downhill. So the amount of times we threw the ball to Daniel Hill, whether it was to check down or a design play, that was way too much for me. If we're going to be tossing the ball to the running back as often as we did last night, go ahead and put Jeremy Bernard at running back and bring in Latavius Brooks full time. Let's stop rotating receivers and let's roll like that. Or bring in A.K. Deere, the freshman, who we thought we were going to see a whole bunch more. He only ended up with 3 carries yesterday. But he's a guy that's supposed to have some juice, a guy that can do really well in open space. Let's get him the swing pass on 3rd and 2, So that was goofy to me. And then the last play that really stuck out to me was in the fourth quarter. We scored a touchdown, had a 9-play, 91-yard drive, and we cut the deficit from 21 points to 14. So it's a 21-7 game. Then the defense gets a stop. We get the ball back. So look, we got enough time to still make this thing happen. It's been ugly, but it ain't over. We put a drive together. We go down here and score 21-14. We got ourselves a game. And we one play from making things happen. But we get backed up in our end zone, and we find ourselves in another situation where we have to convert, a short yardage down. It's 4th and 2. And I don't know what we were designing there from our OC, Ryan Grubb, Kalen DeBoer, but we have probably one of the lowest percentage throws, I would say, in that moment. I mean, we throw all the way to the sideline on a short out route to whomever it was, Jeremy Bernard, whoever. And, I mean, we're talking about 2-yard play. And we're asking Ty Simpson to throw the ball like 20 yards to the side. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but he's got to make a really good throw, accurate throw, and not a lot of space because the sideline, we're creeping up on that. But, it's 2 yards that we have to get right there. So for us to be throwing the ball sideways 10 yards to get up the field 2 yards, this doesn't make no sense. And we're backed up. So not converting this 4th down basically ends the game, which it did. And, for me, it's like, dude, our running game is that bad that we can't just run the ball on 3rd and 2 and 4th and 2, bro. Because we have no confidence that we can gain even a yard to make this a shorter 4th down opportunity or, just bully our way up the field 2 yards, which, man, you can't win football games like that, bro. Like what are we doing? We can't convert 4th and 2s consistently. Like this is, and the thing about it is, we can say Georgia's all these things, but we've played them and we've seen a version of Alabama that destroys Georgia. So, it's just, yeah, they made adjustments and stuff, but I'm like, where is our counters to their counter? We come out with a great game plan. Georgia makes an adjustment. They slow us down and we get out of Athens with a win. We come into this game seeming like we're going to just do our same old, like Georgia ain't been licking their chops for 3 months for this game and this opportunity. And we didn't have no adjustment for their adjustments. And for me, that's where this coaching staff needs to take it way up because we love Coach Saban. Yeah, he's the GOAT. But part of the reason what made Coach Saban the GOAT is because he wasn't stuck in his ways. He was willing to adapt for the betterment of the team. And so I need for Coach Debo, Coach Grubb, they need to adapt to the team, adapt to the personnel, adapt to what you have at your hands. When I think about some of our older teams, when Lane Kiffin was our coordinator, he was our offensive coordinator 2014, 15, and 16. And the offense looked different each of those years. For me, that's good coaching, and here's why. In 2014, Amari Cooper was our best player hands down. So the offense was centered around Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper won the Biletnikoff Award, best receiver in the country. We dominated to a college football appearance, had a great team, blah, blah, blah. The next year, Derrick Henry was the best player in college football, won the Heisman Trophy. We had games where we handed the ball off to Derrick Henry 40-plus times. People said we were running him into the ground, giving him the ball too much, but he was our best player, so we centered the offense around that. The next year, Jalen Hurts. Now, I don't necessarily think of freshman year Jalen Hurts was the best player on Alabama's offense, but we had to design the offense to make it comfortable for him. He's a true freshman. He has a different style at quarterback than we were used to. And so what did we do? We catered the offense around Jalen, who was the most important player that year on offense. So for me now, I'm looking at our offense, and it seems like today we just run our offense and we do what we do. And we dare somebody to stop it. But when somebody does stop it, what are we doing? Where's our counter? We should have certain games where this is a Ryan Williams game. We don't think anybody on this team should be able to cover him. Or Jeremy Bernard or Isaiah Horton. Like, we should be in our bag way deeper from an offensive play calling perspective because we have too much talent and so much great reputation around this staff to not figure this stuff out. So, I definitely think the coach staff needs to step it way up. Just like we expect players to take leaps and jumps from season to season, I'm expecting the same from this coaching staff if we expect to be where we want to be, right? Which is a consistent contender, playing for national championships, winning conference championships. So, this was a good year all in all, but if we want to be the standard that we have been, we got to step it up, bro. This is, too many times we look goofy on tape when we lose. You think about the Florida State game. Part of the reason it was such a bad taste in the mouth. It wasn't just that we lost. It was that we looked so incompetent in the process. We looked unprepared. Last night, similar vibes, but we did a lot of things to contribute to that. Like we talked about the block punt, the pick, not getting off the field timely. Like defense played pretty good last night, but UGA just had some timely moments where they were just able to extend drives, and time of possession was key. We've struggled to create explosive plays, big plays offensively for a while now. So the key to victory for us is controlling the time of possession, keeping the ball out of the other team's hands, and having long, consistent drives that we finish. And so UGA beat us at our own game last night. They controlled the time of possession. They kept our defense on the field, shrunk the game, gave Ty Simpson less opportunities to cook, and he needed as many as possible because he was screwing up big time. And look, Ty Simpson's regression over the last month or so really needs to be studied because, this kid went from being the number 1 overall pick probably a month ago to, he might, I'm not putting him in the portal, but I could see a situation where Ty Simpson is in the portal, you know what I'm saying? And so we'll see what happens with that. But honestly, it seemed like when Ryan Grubb came down from the booth, Ty Simpson started playing worse. So I think Grubb should stick to the booth because whatever was happening before then, it was better than what we've been putting out, the last month or so. So, and Ty Simpson, man, he just looked shook last night, bro. He wasn't making accurate throws. He was getting hit up, a lot and just holding the ball too long, man. Like, where are the quick options in this offense? All we got, it seemed like, was dump it off to the running back and, a couple of successful screen passes to Ryan Williams early. And so for us to have, no success, no creativity, man, got to do better. Let's take some risks downfield. UGA's corners are not that good. Like the best part of their defense is in the middle. The linebackers, the D-line, the edge rushers, safeties are competent, but they're not elite. So let's create some one-on-one matchups and throw it up to the 6'4" guy, and give them opportunities to play some ball, man, because it seems like we're always trying to design the play for the open man, and sometimes guys ain't that open, and so where is the adjustment? We got 6'4" Isaiah Horton. We got a 6'5" receiver in Derek Meadows. And look, we knew that Alabama had hella injuries this game, and I was a little nervous about that, just because so many key players out, like LT Overton being out, Josh Cuevas being out, Jan Miller, Kevin Riley, our top 2 backs, so there's a lot of guys that we were missing last night that would have helped us a lot. But knowing that we don't have those guys, where's the adjustment to the game plan, man? We know we can't count on Josh Cuevas in these, critical moments and utilizing his size because he's injured. But Derek Meadows, 6'5", fast dude, man, let's go up there and give him a jump ball. You know what I'm saying? Something, just AK Deer, where was the implementation of him into the game plan? You know what I mean? We had all this talk about AK Deer, and we needed help in the run game, whether it be running the ball or catching the ball out the backfield. Just, what are we doing, man? Let's use what we got to our advantage and not just try to run the same stuff regardless of who's in there. But, it is what it is, man. I'm not thrilled about this game because, literally, to me, it didn't even matter if we won this game. We were going to be in the playoff. The only thing that could keep us out of the playoff was getting our ass whooped. And, of course, that's exactly what happened. And so, I think Alabama's resume is good enough to be a top 12 team in the playoff. But, we gave them room to play with the shenanigans because I still don't think a 2-loss Notre Dame team is better than a 3-loss Alabama team. And if we're excluding the SEC championship and we're taking both those teams at 10-2, we have a way better resume. So to punish us for making our own conference championship game is a little ludicrous to me, especially since there's a whole bunch of SEC teams that are going to make the playoff that didn't have to play in the conference championship game. So, to be the second best team in the SEC should get you in the playoff. That being said, they clearly have been on this agenda for a few weeks because all we've heard about is if Bama loses, literally, from Auburn to this week and so on. So, we'll see what happens with the committee. I'm not too optimistic about it, but, hey, if we get in, clean slate, let's go win it. You know what I'm saying? But if not, listen, y'all better use this hunger, bro. I don't want no BS next year in the opener, bro. We better save all this anger and energy we got for the next 9-10 months and parlay it into some, great team success next year, bro. Dominate whatever crap bowl game they give us if we don't get in the playoff, and let's keep this train moving. Like, going into year 2, Coach Debo, we in good shape, bro. We went 9-3 first year, 10-2 second year. So year 3, this needs to be the year we make that move. You know what I mean? We need to be a top 5 team next year. That's the standard. That's the routine. You know what it is. So, look, I know the type of character this team. This team is going to bounce back and band together, whether we in a ball game or a playoff game. But we got to get right, man. And now it's about roster retention, right? Like, we got to keep the guys that are important for this playoff run or for next year, and identify guys that can improve the squad. And coaches as well. We got to get the special teams coach up out of there. Ryan Grubb, I'm not firing him, but he should have to walk back to Tuscaloosa. Ty Simpson, listen, we might need to start having some conversations about giving somebody else a shot, just because we're going to lose some quarterbacks in the portal regardless. So figure out who you like, who you love long term. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of decisions to be made, a lot of learning and growing we need to do from this loss. But y'all know it's still roll tide, baby. So y'all let me know what y'all thought about the game last night. Bama Bama got whooped on. So, hey, it is what it is. But holla at me in the comment section, and I'll holla at y'all soon. I'm out.